Well, we've been on the road for 1 month and we've been boondocking for about a week and a half, and we've learned a few things. So in this episode, we're going to talk about the things we learned. Part 2, Boondocking Edition. I learned that I love boondocking with the trailer. We've been boondocking a ton, or camping on public lands a ton, hundreds and hundreds of nights, but never with the trailer. And I think I like it more than being in a camp. Plus we're saving 35 to 45 bucks a night, which is awesome.
We learned that boondocking, we still have neighbors. We're not all alone, which is nice. But we also have a little bit more distance in between, so we don't feel like we're living in a fishbowl.
A lot more privacy. Although if you pick a crowded boondocking spot, it could be more crowded than a park even. But we just picked a great spot and we got lucky. I also learned it's easier to have a dog. We can just let Fender roam free and not worry about him barking or disturbing someone. That's been a great peace of mind.
It took us 1 week to drain our fresh water tank, and our other holding tanks are still doing great.
Below half.
Yeah, so that's gone better than I thought. We have a couple of water canisters. We added an extra 10 gallons once we drained fresh water, so that could keep us going for another 2-3 days. And we're more conservative than I thought we would be.
Yeah, when you're at a park and you're hooked up to the hose constantly, you fill your tanks faster because there's more water on demand. When you're boondocking, we're a little bit more cautious and we think about it a little bit more. We are pretty tight on our water usage. We take military showers. We only run the faucets when we need to. We really don't run the water heater much unless we need to take a shower. So I think we could do 2 weeks with our gray and black water tanks, no problem, which means we don't really need a composting toilet anyway.
Yeah, and we want to be going into town at least once every day or two anyway. So to get more water in our canisters isn't going to be a huge deal.
I learned that it's harder to film outdoors when you're boondocking because people start up their chainsaw and randomly cut down trees. I also learned that the cell booster made a big difference, especially with the directional antenna. We're going to do a whole video on that later, but I will show you. I'll put a link in the description at least of our cell booster and our antenna so you can know what we're using. But yeah, I'll do a whole nother video on that one day. But we still have the same problem we had in the park, is that at night everyone's on their cell phone and the cell towers are overloaded and we can't do normal things like upload YouTube videos or watch Netflix because we don't have enough bandwidth to share with everyone that's boondocking. So yeah, that's pros and cons, but it's enabled me to be able to work from the trailer most days. Now if I have to video conference, I have to go into town where I have better signal.
Another thing we learned is that when you're boondocking and the roads get dusty, everything inside the trailer gets dusty a little quicker too. As well as tracking in more dirt on our feet even more quickly. I think there have been days that we've swept twice, which is okay.
Did we mention that we have to run the generator 3 hours a day? I hate generators. That's annoying. I can't wait for our solar panels and our big battery bank. We're going to install those in October. Still haven't bought batteries yet. We're looking for a group buy if any of you are interested. And that's all I have to say about that. And we learned we need interaction. We've known this over time, but boondocking's great. It's great to have neighbors to interact with. Thank goodness. We would hate it if we were the only ones here. But we also need interaction with society, and Silverton isn't big enough for us to get that. So I could stay here for a week or two, but after a week or two, I need more interaction, more of a city, more like Durango, or even Pagosa Springs had a lot more interaction going on. This little sleepy town pretty much goes to sleep at 7 p.m. and there's nothing else around.
So the town goes to sleep right about the time we're finishing up work for the night, and we're like, yeah, let's go be around people. So that's been a challenge here in particular.
Or it usually starts raining right at 4, right before we stop working, so we can't ride our bikes, can't go on very many hikes. I mean, we could, but we don't want to. And it's freezing cold up here, and the mosquitoes are really bad.
Yeah, that's another thing that, I mean, I know this, but it's a reminder. When you're at this elevation, there's no such thing as summer. It goes straight from spring to fall at a certain point. And so it's been awesome, and it's been great being up here for a week and a half, but by the end of this week, I'm going to be ready to be at a little bit lower elevation again where it's summertime.
And I also forgot that the end of August is when the mosquitoes come out in the mountains. So I also learned that we feel really safe. I don't feel scared out here. And I'm sure that'll depend from location to location, but I don't lie awake at night wondering if someone's gonna come assault us or bang on the door or something.
We've also learned that there are tons of other full-timers out here that we're gonna get to meet. We see them online, we know they're out there, but we just wondered if in a sea of other RVers if we'd never meet any of them. But whether it's a family of 9 or a bachelor with a toy hauler full of fun toys, there's lots of full-timers out here to get to know and chat with and kind of compare notes.
And most of them aren't online blogging about it, they're just doing it, and most of them don't know a ton of other people are doing it too. A little while back we complained about how big the awning was and how much pressure it puts on the Airstream. I'm actually super glad we have a huge awning. There was one night that we were here with all our friends and we had probably 12 people under the awning. It was pouring rain. We all ate our dinner and cooked our dinner under there. The awning gathers people together, and I'm glad it's a really big awning.
We've also found that it costs money to experience some places. We believe in free fun as well, but for example, while you're here in Silverton, they've got a cool mining museum, they've got cool mining tours, and you don't have to do those things, but being willing to spend the money definitely lets you experience it more thoroughly. And I think, you know, if we're way the heck up here, we might as well experience it, which has made it nice to be boondocking. We don't feel like we're hemorrhaging, you know, RV park costs every day, and to put a little bit of money into doing things like that is no problem.
Yeah, saving 30 to 40 bucks a day. After 3 days, that'll afford any museum anywhere. You can afford Disneyland if you do that long enough. So yeah, I agree. We're budgeting to enjoy the place because we don't know when we're going to come back here, and we want to really experience it here, not just pass through and have someone be like, oh, did you go to the museum? No, we didn't do that. Oh, you should have gone, it was great. So we're trying to really experience the place while we're here. I learned that our heater does not take nearly as much electrical power as I thought it did, so we can run that at night without totally draining our battery, which is sweet.
Word to the wise, when you boondock, remember to switch your refrigerator from auto to gas, because if it's on auto and there's power in your battery, it's gonna prioritize it and run it off electric, and it's gonna drain it in no time.
Yeah, our first night that happened. Our inverter's big enough that it can power our fridge, and one of you warned us about that, but we had it on auto and we thought, oh, it'll just default to gas. No, it defaults to electric. So we turned it off auto. It only runs propane, which is super efficient, and our battery isn't drained the next day. That was a bummer, but that's what we learned. I learned the new 16-inch wheels and tires gave us a noticeable amount of increased ground clearance. Didn't expect it to make a big difference, but it did.
The Airstream is also better insulated than we thought. The furnace doesn't have to work too terribly hard to keep it warm.
Yeah, and it stays warm and it stays cool when you want it to. It does a good job. I realized that running a generator sucks. Did I mention that? And we have to do it 3 hours a day. And I can't wait for our solar panels and our big batteries. That'll be really nice.
Yeah, me too. And the other part of that is it's this constant game of like, you know, is it a good time for me to charge my laptop? Oh, I'm going to put my phone on airplane mode and then just kind of do one big dump of getting, you know, text messages and emails like once or twice a day. So if I don't text you back for several hours, I'm still a nice person. I'm just trying to conserve my battery.
I've learned that it's cool to have the van with its own inverter because that actually has more amp hours than the Airstream right now. So we'll charge the batteries in there overnight on the laptops, on the phones, and it's nice having a fridge in there too, because we'll go to the grocery store and we may not be going directly home to the Airstream, so we can put the cold food in the fridge, keep that cold while we're out exploring without worrying about food spoiling. Those two things have been huge on the van, way bigger than I would have anticipated.
I have used that inverter on the van a ton. So glad we did that.
I love Airstream's windows, how when it's pouring rain, we can still crack the windows and it keeps the rain out. I really, really like that design.
Boondocking is something I definitely want to do more of. I think being in parks from time to time will allow us to be places that we want to be. But at least the spot that we found, it was a nice balance, and it was great to save a little bit of money so that when we are in parks, you know, that kind of helps offset that. But I want to do more boondocking, and I'm looking forward to getting our power set up a little bit better so that we can do it more easily.
Same here, and not just for the financial reasons, but I do feel like I'm in nature more, and I don't have to keep the dog on the leash, and there aren't people driving in and out at all hours. And like I said, I know it depends on where you boondock. There are places you boondock that is just like an RV park, but this is a beautiful place. We're right by 2 streams, lakes, hikes up the road, and it's all free for 14 days. I can see us doing a lot more boondocking, but we've got to do something about our batteries. We're going to do a whole video series on solar and batteries and how it works and what to pick and all that once we get that installed. Thanks for watching.
And when all you Captain Obviouses start stating the obvious about our power situation, I karate chop your comments!